Yes, Lord. Good morning. Oh, it's running out of water. And yes, I know I'm early, but Lord, there's so much to do and to discuss. So Mother gets on a little early every morning. And today we have the after party. After the party is the after party. Yes, sir. Good morning. Morning, y'all. I'm excited for the show today. And so I know you all are not expecting me to be on before 6:30, but just be prepared every day from now on that I may be on a little bit before 6:30, depending on what's happening. Welcome to Mornings with Mother. Where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Yes, it's 6:28, but we are on early because there's so much to do and say and discuss. Please, if you're watching us from the Divine Mother Diva page, from the A.Lawful Truth Enterprises pages on YouTube, please hit like or subscribe. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, hit the like and subscribe button and tell the folks who are coming on, because sometimes I get so involved in what I'm reporting, I don't always get to tell you to hit the like or subscribe button. I'm hearing from a lot of people that you're enjoying this platform, but you're not hitting the like or subscribe button. So please do that. Please do that. Please do that so more people can find us. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with my morning motivation. Good morning to all of you. And then I'll move into the news. We're going to have our Love Is segment. I didn't even reach out to Cherie, so I'm hoping that she's watching because I've got a lot to report. And so I'm hoping she'll join me as usual. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to have State Senator Art Haywood on to discuss the SNAP benefits, how it's impacting people, et cetera, et cetera. Morning motivation. Some years ago, after attending a Black Male Development Symposium function at the African American Museum, I headed out a side door towards the parking lot with some friends when I saw him. I wanted to keep walking by, but I was so pulled in his direction, despite the fact he was not looking warm or friendly. Sorry, God was getting a mouthful from me, but I was obedient and did what my heart told me. I walked over and simply said, "You remind me of the Lion King with your entire ensemble. And while it is fire, whatever it is that is weighing your soul down, take the time to recover because there is a sadness coming from you and you have too much genius in you to give up." Never met him before. I just spewed what I saw. He stood there, staring at me as the tears began to run unchecked down his face. I took another risk and put my palms on his cheeks as I kept talking and told him I didn't know how, but we would keep seeing each other. I think I took his card. Would you believe me if I told you since then I would be walking down the street or into a building and we would run into each other? We would share hugs and get caught up before moving on. Would you believe me that we see each other a lot in Uncle Bobby's? That was before the pandemic. And we have formed a relationship that revealed to me he is truly what I thought he was, a genius. Imagine if I had walked by him that day and ignored what I felt. I knew he was never in danger of taking his life, but he was so drained. He was ready to let the path he was on go. I now have a wonderful friend and we encourage each other. The point of all this? Choose to be a mirror of love and kindness, not just the people you deem important and able to support you, because you never know what that may yield for the people around you. Run towards love. You will never, ever regret it. Good morning to those of you who are just joining me on Mornings with Marva. I write these morning motivations. I write these inspirations every day. Every day, things happen that brings the stuff to me. And so yesterday, I had to go to a funeral, and then I had to drop off some stuff for the Jamaican, hurricane relief tarps and stuff. Thank you to my husband and to the family and friends who have been donating. Thank you to Jacinia for bringing a bag full of batteries to the Mr. Man Winery. I see you. I feel you. I love your energy. And so while I was doing all of that, I walked back into the house and my spirit told me to call three people. I called all three of them, and all three of them had so much going on. I was floored. And the one said to me, I just spent my morning checking on a bunch of people and just said to God, who checks on me? I've got so much going on. And then the phone rang and I called. I had called her. What I learned in those conversations is that we really need to check on each other more. Yes, we're going through a lot. Yes, it's really bad out here. Folks who have high-powered, high-figured jobs, lawyers, and they're being laid off, y'all. They're being told they don't have a job at such and such a time. People in high-ranking places in other offices, when you think about places like McDonald's and Starbucks, etc., you think about the folks in the stores that are working. You don't think about the higher executives in the offices doing the work. They're getting laid off. I talked to one person who was like, people are getting laid off all around me. And I know the time is coming, and I'm trying to figure out how to prepare my family and myself for what I see happening in front of me. People are inexplicably getting sick, but it's not inexplicable. When your brain is just completely filled with all the stuff that is happening around you, thank God for you, my listening audience. There are days when I'm just like, I can't do this, right? I take mental health days, mental health and wellness days, so that I can focus on my brain and my body. And so I'm grateful to all of you for that. But there's so much going on. Folks who are out here jumping in, showing up in these events where the tickets are $500 a ticket, they're struggling. They will never tell you, but they are struggling. Right? Folks who've been laid off for 6, 7, 8 months. Folks who've been laid off for 12 months, and you see them out there and they're smiling and they're doing all of that stuff. This is a safe space for all of you to come and just let it all down. You don't have to discuss your personal business on these platforms, but just know that we see you. Just know I see you. And I understand what it is that you're dealing with on a macro and micro level. Went to bed last night and I woke up with a cough, and I saw a message from my daughter-in-law that something broke in the house. And then I told her, just tell me what it costs, because everybody is living in a space where we just have to love and support one another. Holidays are around the corner. My father is on his way here. Lord, yes, that's called speaking in tongues for those of you who are Black and not a part of the Christian church that does all the speaking in tongues things, right? So that's happening. And, we're just trying to figure out how to get through Thanksgiving, trying to figure out how we're stocking up on dry milk and stuff like that as things start to get tougher out here. Because, baby, I am going to read some things for you and let you listen to a few things before Cherie comes on. This was written by MSNBC. Hayes Brown wrote this. At 36 days and counting, this is now the longest federal shutdown in the United States history. While setting this inauspicious record, the GOP-controlled Congress has left hundreds of thousands of federal workers missing paychecks, even as roughly 40 million people are now struggling to feed themselves and their families. The House of Representatives have been dormant for even longer. The chamber last held a vote on September 19th. As Speaker Mike Johnson has scattered its members to their districts. But with the shutdown's policy consequences pressing in on lawmakers, the strain is beginning to show. The first real hints of a deal to reopen the government appeared in the Senate earlier this week, although at this point the Senate has more of a concept of a plan than a full framework. Johnson's strategy to hinder any chance for Democrats to win concessions is reaching its breaking point. The next moves could determine whether 22 million Americans staring down a massive health insurance premium hike will be reprieved or if the pain of the past 6 weeks has been for naught. More than 2 weeks before federal funding lapsed on October 1st, Johnson ushered a clean continuing resolution through the House. The short term funding bill would instruct federal agencies to continue operating at the same funding levels the GOP set earlier this year. Once it was delivered to the Senate, Johnson sent the House into recess. His plan, in addition to avoiding a vote on the Epstein files, was to pressure Senate Democrats to accept the House bill as written. If they did not, Johnson thought Democrats would take the blame for the resulting shutdown. But that's not how it has played out. The most recent polling shows voters continue to blame President Donald Trump and Republicans more than Democrats for the shutdown. And Johnson can't wait out the Democrats indefinitely. The bill that passed the House only funded the government through November 21st, a deadline that is now too close to be viable. Any bill to reopen the government for longer requires a fresh vote in the House, necessitating their return to Washington. It would seem then that the Democrats should increase the pressure on Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican in South Dakota, as the House bill, which has now failed to advance to the floor 14 times now, becomes more obsolete by the day. The scenes negotiations with their GOP counterparts, NBC News reported that some senators are even feeling optimistic that the shutdown could end before this week is out. And so they're talking about this. So they thought that the Democrats were going to be blamed for it. They're watching all the things that are taking place, and I think they're shaken at this point. There are some other articles that I want to read to you all. The 2025 election, Democrats wins goes beyond the big races to places like Georgia and Pennsylvania, even in Mississippi, the deepest red state. My goodness. This was written in Atlanta. Democrats flipped 2 seats on Georgia's statewide Public Service Commission by wide margins, one of the many surprise victories for the party Tuesday, up and down the ballot in the handful of races across the country. Polling shows that the Democratic Party is historically unpopular, but at polling places this year, voters have helped the party overperform in elections against the backdrop of President Trump's even less popular policies. Beyond the blowout victories in the New Jersey and Virginia governor's races, Zohran Mamdani winning a majority of votes in the New York City's mayoral election, and California voters approving a plan to temporarily withdraw the state's congressional districts to add Democrat-leaning districts, the party continues its trend of electoral success in the 2025 general election. Here are some of the notable election results around the country. In Georgia, Peter Hubbard and Alicia Johnson will be the newest members of the 5-person public utility regulator after earning roughly 60% of the vote. It is the first time Democrats have won a non-federal statewide office there since 2006, and one where soaring energy costs and displeasure with incumbents dominated the race. Pennsylvania voters chose to retain 3 state Supreme Court justices that were first elected as Democrats after millions of dollars in outside spending driven by conservative billionaire Jeff Yass' efforts to reshape the state court's politics. Democrats also won special elections for a seat on Pennsylvania's Superior Court and a seat on its Commonwealth Court. Also in Pennsylvania, Democrats swept the top row offices in the purple-hued Bucks County, electing the county's first ever Democratic district attorney and defeating an incumbent Republican sheriff a year after Trump narrowly won there. Democrats similarly noticed commanding victories in county executive races in Erie, Lehigh, and Northampton counties, all bellwether counties in recent presidential elections. At the state legislative level, Mississippi Democrats have broken a GOP supermajority in the state Senate after flipping 2 seats in that chamber, plus another pickup in the state House. A federal court ordered lawmakers to redraw 14 total House and Senate districts after finding the maps drawn in 2022 discriminated against Black voters. Democrats have also vastly expanded their control of the Virginia House of Delegates, and in New Jersey's General Assembly, the party gained a supermajority. In many local races across the country, Democrats touted victories that will reshape their communities, like the flipping of all 3 council seats in Georgetown, South Carolina, y'all. The unseating of the last remaining Republican city council member in Orlando, Florida, and winning back mayoral races in Connecticut. That was J.D. Vance's stepbrother that ran and did not win. For the first time in a half a century, Democrats control the Onondaga County legislature that includes Syracuse, New York. Democrats saw a city council seat in Charlotte, North Carolina switch parties for the first time since 1999. Democrats across the ideological spectrum won too. Beyond Mandami's victory in New York City, the Democratic Socialists of America touted municipal wins for members in Detroit, Atlanta, and Cambridge, Massachusetts, among others. The Democratic National Committee Chairman Ken Martin previously predicted in an interview with NPR that the party's success in special elections in 2025, where the party has overperformed prior margins by an average of about 14%, will continue into the midterm cycle. And so it did. Tuesday's results also show that the economy and affordability continue to be top of mind for voters, and voters have registered their displeasures with Trump and congressional Republicans' agenda on that front. So, if you were someone who ran for dog catcher in November of 2025 general election, anybody that was anything other than a Republican won their seats handily. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Anybody who was anything other than a Republican won their seats handily. And that is a conversation that we need to continue to have. All right, let's see. Then there's this. I interviewed him, and he's about to come on my show with Ed Brown. We're working through that now. Delaware County will soon have a new sheriff in town. Democrat Sadiq Kamara won Tuesday night's election and will make history once he's sworn in. I'm so grateful, he says, where my family came from. We came from a civil war. I lost my mom at the age of 1. At 30 years old, I want you all to remember that I said this. I kept saying this 18, 19, even my own peers, the young people are not coming out to vote. Their votes don't matter. We're just focusing on the seasoned citizens. The young people watched you all diminish them, speak ill of them as if they didn't know what they were talking about. And the truth of the matter is they were sitting in clutches, talking about what was happening in the country, the climate control, the way they couldn't get jobs after going to college, the way they could not afford to live on their own after getting college degrees, the way they could not afford health insurance. All of that was top of their minds. And they're not only coming out to vote, they're running for offices and winning. Keep playing. I have told you all this. I said it was only going to be 1 to 2 election cycles. You're going to see more young people show up and win, and absolutely win, because what they're doing is not just showing up to run for office. They will tell you they may not have all the answers, but they're willing to work across the board. They're willing to not have business as usual around them. They're sick and tired, and they're now using their voices to vote and to run for office. So here we go. After graduating from Upper Darby High School, Kamara joined the Army. He later worked in the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office, eventually serving on Governor Josh Shapiro's executive detail. The governor called him and congratulated him. His decision to run was also personal. In 2021, his 8-year-old cousin, Fanta Bility, was shot and killed by police who fired into a crowd in Sharon Hill. I don't want no family to go through this tragedy again, Kamara says. I want to make sure my deputies are properly trained, properly equipped to serve all Delaware County residents. Now, you know, when that article was brought forth, the amount of hate and racism, nothing like a little bit of, just say the name Muslim, say the name Black, say the name Latino, say, young, and the folks were just, we're just time for us to move, all of that stuff, right? And so I wish everybody that has run for office across the country and won success. I wish that my prayer and wish for you is that you put your egos aside and figure out how to work across the board for the people of this country. It is absolutely necessary, and no more can we just talk about, well, it's my turn. I've been in office, and what have you done while you've been in office? What can you show to the people? Because now folks are voting out even incumbents that have been around for forever and a day. They're sick and they're tired. right? And so what I want the Democrat Party to hear, congratulations that people have won all up and down and you're taking credit for it. You're still unpopular. You're still unpopular. So for those of you who have been sitting in offices and doing absolutely nothing, now's the time for you to sit up and take notes, because someone younger is going to run against you. They're pulling their people together, and you're going to look up and you'll be retiring, right? I want you to choose to either step up and do your work properly, start to learn, start to ask the people in your offices to give you what you need to know about this, that, and that. And let's stop just making it about talking points. You have to have a heart for people, and that heart has to show up in some way, shape, or form. I promise you. If you do not, you're going to be sucking salt through a wooden spoon. So there's that. Let me see. Let me look at the chats this morning. Good morning to all of you. Good morning. I've just been talking away. Let me open up the chat so I can say hello to you all. Yes, I did. Marguerite said you did say that, Andrea, about the young people. I did. I was not playing games with all of you. Look at this. Jaden Williams was recently elected mayor of Stockbridge, Georgia at the age of 22 after defeating an incumbent. Stop playing with the young people. They're done. They're tired. They'll figure it out, right? It is the time has come and gone. Alexandra says, at Marguerite, that Speaker of the House is responsible for the Democratic takeover. He was on Roland Martin Unfiltered last night. And Monica says, yes, now do something to make effective change that helps to make a difference. It's absolutely important. I see. Alexander says, yes, Sadiq and his mom are loved here in Clifton Heights Borough. So I've got folks working now to bring him on. And I want to invite the mayor of Upper Darby, Ed Brown, to join him with me. So because when Ed Brown won as the first Black mayor ever in Upper Darby history, I had him on here, and so we're really, it's a good thing. Good morning to each and every one of you. I see you here. I'm going to let Cherie in because there's something that we have to talk about as it applies to what's happening in our communities. I don't see her. She just disappeared. Whoops. Cherie. All right, Cherie. Hold on. Cherie, if you're watching me, click back in again for me, please. Cherie, not Cherry. Lord Jesus, I'm tired. Try again, please. Lost you. All right. So, let's see. While we're waiting for Cherie to come back in, Sandra, good morning, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like and subscribe button so other people can find us. My mentor called me yesterday and said, you have an amazing show. And not once do you say to people, hit the like or subscribe button. I'm too busy working. So if you see me every morning when you come on, please hit the like and subscribe button so that folks can find us and that you're not the only ones enjoying me every single morning, right? We've now been here for a year. She says, yeah, your dad is coming. Then you take him when he gets here. Yeah, my father will be here. Good morning to all of you. I see you. Good morning, Dennis. Dennis, I want to thank you for showing up with a whole team of people at she's still not showing up. That's so weird. That is so weird. I'm hitting enter and she's, oh my God. There she is. Oh, I was like, what the hell is happening here?
You did that on Monday with Dr. Ayla.
I did. I sure did. Good morning, my darling. I was just thanking Dennis for bringing a group of people to Booker's a couple of weeks ago and just bossing out, man. He took care of everybody. He paid for folks who didn't even know he was going to pay for them. He brought his folks from around the country, and we had a great time in Booker's.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, I sent my other half to.
Yes,
I was
and
out.
he came through. Yes, that was a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much. Yes, glad you guys had a good time.
We did.
Ever since I touched down, we have been busy because we have the American Museum. We have been going. So
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Now, you said you saw, good morning. So, for those of you who have never seen us together as a group, this is Cherie Syfax. We do a Love Is segment every Thursday. We started at once a month 3 years ago, and the folks were like, nah, we want to hear more. So now we're every Thursday. We're every Thursday talking about all the things, right? And I decided to keep her on because she is a respite in the middle of all the foolishness that's going on around the country. We just need to talk about things you know, that works for us. So good morning, my darling. All right. I got something for you.
Okay.
Child.
And
Hold
let me
on.
say this. Monday was a great show. I thought you did a really good job with D.A. Krasner and
Thank
like
you.
all the people. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thank you.
It was
And
a
now
great way to
people are,
start the week and get
yep,
people already fired up to go vote and all the things. So yeah.
I did. And we spent Tuesday talking about the election, blah, 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 blah. And we have Senator Art Hayward on at 7:30 in the after party, right? So, because what is happening is this show, the platform is starting to grow. So instead of trying to cram everybody in 1 hour, I keep my normal folks where they are and then either add them on the beginning or at the end, right?
Okay.
So this is great. And everybody's saying good morning to you. You get, oh, Dennis
Hey,
said it
everybody.
was fun.
I'm back.
I took off last Thursday. I was tired, child.
No, I know you did. And I was actually glad you did because I had just come in and I was like, oh, I got to get up for Andrea. But I've been on that long flight because I had to cut my trip short because we got the African American Museum catering opportunity after I'd already booked my trip. So I had to come home early. It was a mess. So I was like, look at God. Look at God. Look at God. Because I hate to not, if I'm physically here and able, I want to be on the show.
Yes, you do. All when you're traveling to Timbuktu, you're over there with the cafe with the broken system, and you just talking, and we're having a good old time. So I appreciate you for that. Congratulations for getting the opportunity to cater for the African American Museum. That was a good one of mine for you. I'm grateful for you. Marguerite says, good morning, Shabby. You look great. Hope vacation served you well.
It did. Thank you, Marguerite. And
yes,
you can cater outside of the restaurant. So anything y'all got going on, we did an amazing job. I have to give it to my team. I mean, obviously, we always need more hands. We need a little bit more oversight. So I'm glad I was physically there, but my team was awesome. So yes, we are ready for prime time.
All right. So, child, put on your... Atia says, good morning, ladies. I missed you at Booker, Cherie, but did get to say hello to your husband. Laura, we're not going to talk about the Africa trip right now because there's a whole lot more going on. She and I will catch up on that. And we can't miss.
And see, that is what, so I tell people all the time, and I posted even that sometimes we don't, when we're women, and my husband, let me say this. I was on a girls' trip. It was Fashion Week in Lagos, and my husband, it was a 10-day trip, and my husband blessed me going and took me to JFK and, did all the things. And sometimes we don't talk about that enough. We, sometimes we see, at least in the zeitgeist, in the internet world, the negative things about our men. But, not only does he, support me doing things like outside of the businesses that we run, and he supports those things, but he is like, okay, where do I need to be while you're gone? And he really does step in, because I usually am that person that would come and meet you guys and do all the things, because I'm the more kind of social forward one of the two of us. But he just steps in and steps up, and
he does a great job, because
I don't think we recognize that enough about our men just in general.
Yes.
So Dennis, thank you so much for supporting our business and patronizing us, because that was you can make a choice to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But then I thank my husband for kind of stepping in. He was like, he was doing a million things, but he's like, I'm gonna get over there. So
he did.
Appreciate
he came, introduced himself, talked to folks, and looked at me and said, thank you. I said, you are welcome. Anywhere we can help Black folks, business grow. That's what we do. We don't play those games, right? And we put our money where our mouth is. Speaking of men, I want you to hear this. Hold on.
45 to 25 have never 45% of men 18 to 25 have never approached a woman in person.
Never asked a woman out in person, and what they're up against, think about it. Our economy literally rests on 10 companies now, often referred to as the Magnificent 10. And they do several things, but quite frankly, they're in the business of enragement, polarization, and then sequestering young people from all other activities.
And that's only getting worse given where AI is going. I mean, with like agents and chatbots who are sexily clad anime type figures chatting with young men.
Well, it starts pretty innocent. When you use AI, have you noticed the prompts that are almost irresistible at the end? Let me put this in a series of tweets.
Right.
Before you know it, you're 3 hours deep. But effectively, these companies have attached the entire economy and literally trillions of dollars to trying to get people to, or trying to convince young people, specifically young men who are more susceptible, because quite frankly, their prefrontal cortices isn't as developed, to try and convince them they can have a reasonable facsimile of life online. Why go through the hierarchy of trying to make friends? It's not easy, right? Why try to figure out how to navigate a corporate, all this, when you can go on Reddit or Discord and find friends, or you can trade crypto or stocks on Robinhood or Coinbase? And why, Anderson, would you go through the rejection, the dressing well, the effort, the expense, the humiliation, developing a kindness practice of trying to establish a romantic partnership when you have literally lifelike synthetic porn? So what are we doing? I think we have our economy is attached to one objective, and that is to evolve a new species of asocial, asexual males. Unintentionally, we have an economic interest right now, I would argue, in planning our own extinction.
Amen.
5% of men 18 to
Amen.
25.
Here we go. It's the topic of the morning. I have.
That was a long time ago about Scott Galloway. He had done some research on men and just talking about that subject. And now he's written a book. And I follow him because he's absolutely right. I believe he is absolutely right.
In recent years,
creating some of that gender war, a little bit of it in our older, for the older people, it's dissatisfaction in men and women who have not had good experiences or whatever. But now, to me, since the pandemic especially, it's become this conversation amongst younger individuals, and it's ever evolving. And in my opinion, it's a little scary. When I think about, we both have grandchildren, like what will that look like? And because I have no negative or positive thoughts about any of this, but there's a lot of gender fluidity. There's a lot of not, being able to identify, individuals. There's just so much that it does feel like there is this, I guess, kind of goal of almost extinction. Yeah, that's how
because if you're not interacting with human beings, so if you're just joining us, welcome to Mornings with Mother. This is Cherie Syfax. We're talking about a video we just listened to around men 18 to 25 years old that are not having relationships in real life with women. They're using AI. Right? So the AI looks like a girl, talks to them like a girl. They get into a relationship with artificial intelligence as a girl. They don't want to they don't want to have to get dressed up to go out and have social skills. They can just sit in front of their computers and have an automated relationship with a computer that tells them who, what, why, says all the things that they want to hear. And it is, and you see them when they're out in the streets, they're walking around looking like, I don't want to say zombies. That's not the appropriate word to use, but like they're not a part of community at all.
Yeah, you can tell there's a social disconnection.
Yes.
We were driving and I was like, wow, the guys just look socially disconnected. Like they're not they're in the world, but they're not of the world.
Right. Right. And so what we've seen over the last several years, in the last 3 to 5 years, of course, it's an extinction. If you're not identifying with and dealing with real human beings, then, you're having these relationships. Women can't make babies by themselves, right? So you're having these relationships with the computers at a certain point, you're going to die and no children. And, it becomes the thing where we come to our extinction. What I have seen in the last few years are mothers who have lost sons to suicide because they were having relationships with their artificial intelligence girlfriend, or they and one mom sued the makers of one AI group because she said, "This is, I didn't know my son was going to all
AI, I believe."
Yes, OpenAI, right? So the issue then becomes the other ones who are socially taught through AI that women don't like them, that the world is a mess. They're the ones ending up in these classrooms and out in public, have mass shootings, right?
Yep.
How do we address this? Because I can't talk about it in terms of public discourse yet. How do we address this in our families? What do we say to our children? How do we interact in such a way that our children are not drawn towards AI? Because as parents, we're busy. Parents and grandparents, oh, we got to do this. We got a business over here. We got this, and it's not an indictment against us. It's
Right.
just that we don't recognize right now what the hell is happening, and things are shifting. Things are
Yeah.
absolutely shifting. So how do we keep our young people? How do we continue to engage our young people so that this doesn't become more of a thing?
Yeah, so it's interesting that you chose that to be the topic this morning, because a couple things. One is I'm constantly having conversations with my children about, screen time, and my girls are like, my kids don't even have an iPad. That has become such an easy babysitter, if you will, for children. So we have to, if we're going to do that, I think there has to be a certain amount of time that we say, hey, they can do an hour of screen time, or they can do 30 minutes of screen time, or screen time is you get it as a reward for something else. I'm pretty fortunate. Both of my children are in education. And so like they sit down with the kids and they do, academic time, and they're really good about, they live in California, so the weather is pretty moderate most of the year, so they do a lot of the, space and science center and zoos and all that stuff. And that's what I would just recommend, getting children out. Like here we have so much stuff that they could do. They can go to Longwood Gardens, all the parks,
All free stuff.
all
Yes.
free, all the museums, all that. I know parents are busy. I do. We're busy. I get it. Like, I really do get it. But if we want to kind of break through that shell and break that cycle, we've got to keep children engaged. We've had this conversation too. I see so many people come into the restaurant, large parties, families, and all the adults are talking, but the kids are in their iPad. And so when do kids learn how to engage? I think, my grandparents used to take me out to kind of teach me how to be out in public, and demonstrate proper etiquette and engage. That was the time I could engage. I couldn't at home, like they were like, the adults are in the living room, you go, somewhere else. But out in public is where we could have familial conversation. So that's something that I encourage, and I have conversations about on this platform and others about, letting the children participate in the conversation at the table, and not, because to me, I feel like they're othered when they're the only ones with iPad.
Yes.
And else is talking. And so I think that those are all really, really important things to do. And we just have to make a decision not to be so busy.
How
Because
about that?
the opportunities are out there. Philadelphia is, and kind of this corridor of the tri-state, there's so many things for kids to do. So many. Like, so when my grandbaby was coming, we didn't get to do everything. And so I think it's just us making and creating that time, and to be intentional about communicating with them. Be intentional about asking them how their day was. Be intentional about, like, we would get down, she would do her puzzles, we would get down with her and do her puzzles with her. It's just, we have to do that. And so then they don't long and crave for the iPad all the time, because there's other things that are kind of filling their inquisitive and their creative, that creativity about themselves.
So, listening to you talk, some things come to mind for me. So we have 4 grandchildren. The 5th one is on the way. And the oldest one spends a lot of time. He has a lot of screen time. His parents take him to play different kinds of sports. But when he is home, he's on the screen talking to his friends. He's on the screen playing video games. He's on the screen. And then he would tell his parents that he wants to come to our house, because one of the things that my husband does is that he'll get down on the floor with them and they'll start to build and do things. He felt like he was interacting a lot more, not an indictment on his parents, but as a part of what continues to happen with our children as they become, grow into tweens. And he said to me the last time I saw him that they were going to let him get on some snap. I forget what it was. I said, do you think you're old enough to get on this thing? He said, I don't think I'm old enough, BB. You are absolutely right. I'm going to tell my parents I'm not old enough. We cracked up, but you got to be able to have those conversations. Now with the younger 3, to your point, I go to visit them. I said, put the children in the car. We're going to a restaurant. There's no screens, no anything. They're 3 and 2. And we sit down and we count and we talk and we laugh. We went apple picking a few weekends ago, and I was taking pictures of my son lifting his daughters. And they're like, Dad, I want that apple up there. And he said, all right, this is how you reach. You twist and you pull. And she said, like this. And so you see all of this happening. The interaction with our children is absolutely necessary, because I'm telling you all, for those of you with children in their 20s and their 30s and their teenage years, they're having conversations with AI about their relationships. My boyfriend did such and such. What do you think I should do? And they're following whatever AI tells them, right? They talk to AI about if they have a cut or a bruise, or y'all, you're literally walking us towards extinction. And so for those of you who are afraid to have the conversation with your children and say, put your diggity dang phone away, right? Denise and I went to lunch in New Hope some weeks ago, and Denise said, look over there. There are a group of women who are, and one older woman there, they were all on their phones. And the older woman was just sitting there looking at them like, what the hell? She said, she finally said, put your phones down. Put your phones down so we can have a conversation. It's a beautiful day out here. I have gotten to the place now where I go into conversations with people. I turn off my phone. I was like, Lord, let's not wait for the place to burn. I'm turn off my phone. Otherwise, the phone just keeps blinking.
I'm like, turn the phones over. And and people don't even realize how much time they scroll on their phones. They, hey, and people get offended. I'm like, hey, you're scrolling on your phone a lot. Like, it is. Yeah. It is. It's
addictive.
It's addictive, and it is amazing how addictive social media and the phones. And I mean, even me, like, I'm constantly looking for my emails and whatnot. I'm constantly like, did I get an email? Do I need to respond to something? Versus saying, and this is kind of what I've told myself, I'm going to have this amount of time where I'm going to be engaged, and it's this time to this time, or this time to this time, because what it does is it requires you to stay connected to this object.
Yes.
And children, that's all they're learning. That's all they're knowing. And I'm trying to find this young white guy that's on CNN now. He's on different things. He's just always such a wealth of information. He's about 22, 23, 24, 25, something like that. And he talks about this phenomena. And he also talks about why that age group, white male, have become terrorists. Yes. They are the ones that have become the ones that are killing, going into whether it's, Charlie Kirk or the schools, or they usually are in a certain demographic. And it's consistent with the ones that have become socially despondent and somewhat isolating of themselves.
I see it in our Black communities too, though, with our young boys. You're out here taking our bodies, and you know what I mean, and it's social media.
Right, I see that too, but I'm specifically calling out those that have done harm to people on a mass scale, and the last 5 or 6 of those have been in that demographic. But yes, I agree. I mean, I agree. I think it is also amongst African-American young men too. I think, again, a lot of it was born out of and originated with COVID.
And AI, because a lot of the Black men that were calling in complaining about Black women, they were watching AI generated videos and didn't even recognize it. And the more you can, this Black woman out here acting a fool. She got 6 babies, my 6 baby mom fathers and all that. I said, that's AI generated. You could not convince them that this stuff was not AI generated. I see the look on your face, so we know who we're talking about, right? We're calling all the time and say Black women are this and Black women are that. And if you're not interacting socially, and then we realize he didn't have anybody in his life. Well, I saw him this past spring. He is a Latina, and he is happy as a clam, and ain't nobody heard from him. So, he's off the social media doing whatever he does. The thought, though, I want to read this to you. Marguerite says, admittedly, the computer and TV were my son's babysitters. My life was a mess back then. Fortunately, he channeled his computer engagement into a career. He learned things, though, I wish he hadn't. Right? Yeah. Laverne says, I can find myself in my phone, but I am more conscious when I'm hanging out and with my friends, learning how to not need to take pictures for, yes, baby girl, learning how to not need to take pictures for everything I do. Absolutely. And my husband channeled me. He was like, can you put the phone down? Because again, my phone just constant.
Yeah,
And I've learned to
I
just,
have 6 email addresses on my phone.
yeah, child is crazy.
3 related to the restaurant, 1 personal, 1 with my other business. Like, yeah, 6 email addresses on my phone. And so, yeah, you're trying to make sure you don't miss anything, and you get back to people, and and all the things. And then, that's not that, and that's not even the social media part of it.
And that's not healthy either. People
No,
need to
it's
wait
not.
for a response. Dear God up in heaven, they will not die.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Some of it is like, I just want to get it off my plate. But yeah, you want people to respond. Or for us, we're a business. I want to,
Yes.
if the minute something comes in, I want to be on top of it. And so, yeah, it is problematic. And it's so interesting because one of my first like kind of career jobs after like the bank and AAA was working for Cellular One. Back then, Cellular One was one of the only, there was 2 cell phone companies, Cellular One and GT Mobile, and I worked for Cellular One. That is when phones were installed in cars and things like that. There is no way that then I would have thought this is where we'd be with these phones.
Right.
No way. You couldn't have paid me to think that. But they have become, you don't leave the house without your phone.
Not only that, and they're creating now chips that have already been created that's embedded in your, planted in your skin, that becomes your new phone. So all these other things we're walking around with now, child, please. All right. So let me talk to some of these comments that were created here. Lord, hold on, y'all. Hold on. There's a lot talking here. Donette says, I see it when I go shopping. The cashiers do not greet you. My God, it's
They
so
don't.
insane.
I had to
They
get my
just stand there. It's so sad. How many do you know how to connect themselves? And so they're just in their phones, and you're going, excuse me, can I get some help?
And those earbuds. A young lady, she was doing my fingerprints. I passed my real estate test. But anyway, she was doing my fingerprints, and she said something. I thought she was talking to me. She had those earplugs in. She having a whole conversation with somebody else at work. I think that should be a non-starter. Like that cannot come into work and
with
have
your phone
earbuds in your ears. And yeah, you're not even, I'm asking her questions, and she's not paying me near a bit of attention. Yeah.
Janelle says, I had 5 emails on my phone, just pulled it down to 2. We have been made to feel that we need to be connected in this way, but we do not. Things can wait till early late morning. Let me see. There was something else here that I wanted to read because Jennifer is talking. She said, children need to be engaged. And yes, there's so much technology that can hold young people's attention and influence social patterns. Children being left to their own devices is not a new phenomenon, except in this instance. Children being left to their own devices years ago, they were running around playing stickball. They were outside. These, I'm telling you. And even in the children's games and videos, they're embedding all kinds of things that looks innocent. Your children are touching them, and next thing you know, they're in a whole space where they don't belong. And so it is a problem. It is a huge problem right now. This is very different from, the social media age is very different from where they were right now. Let me see. She also said, the one thing I say as a parent is if I knew better, I would have introduced video games. I would not have introduced video games. Lord, y'all are talking. Jesus. To my oldest son, he is 30. I thought he was so smart. Same Marguerite. She says, many Gen Xers, Jennifer, brag about being latchkey kids and being fine because they were out talking to their friends. They were not on social media pads, No,
because I had a key, but I came home. I did my homework. I could go outside just for like an hour if my homework was done and everything was clean. And then I had to start dinner. For 5 o'clock, I had to start dinner because my mom would be home by 6.
So there were things and activities they had. No safety. Yes. Y'all, I can't. The messages are flying faster. Jennifer says we must do more to ensure that there are rec centers with activities for young people to give them something to do other than scroll their phones. But there are also activities they can do at home, right? Take the phones away. Do you want to build something? Do you want to crochet something? Do you want to learn how to make a meal? Something. We have lost our in hindsight, have lost our creativity as adults on how to keep our children engaged, right? My son's doing the dishes and copy paste, comes over and she wants to do the dishes too. So he puts her on a stool and she stands right beside him. She's interacting with her father. He's washing, she's rinsing and putting them in the stuff. Washing, and I'm looking at him and I'm going, diggity dang. There are no computers. There are 3. There are no pads, none of that stuff. And then they have books that they read all the time. That we have to be intentional. It feels like we're punishing ourselves, but we have to be intentional because it's killing our children. It is literally killing our children.
I agree.
And so they're saying that they're proud of you for your thingy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jennifer says, I'm grateful that I had the benefit of family, community, and extractions. Yes. Somebody else said they passed. I think somebody else passed it. Oh my God. This is a lot going on. You all are talking a lot, and I am grateful. Please don't forget to hit like or subscribe. My mentor was like, you got to tell people. So many people are watching your thing, and you don't even tell them that. So Laverne says, I've learned, though, to be off when I'm off and create boundaries. So what I have done now is if I'm in a meeting with someone, I turn my phone off. I was in a meeting with a friend, and she said, look at you. I turned my phone completely off. And I was so peaceful with the phone off, I didn't turn it off for another 2 hours. And when I turned it back on, ding, 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 I said, you know what, y'all go ahead.
Definitely.
It's a lot. Let me see. Janelle says gun violence changed much of our children's ability to play outside, but technology also moved them inside around the same time. Think in the 90s, it was different. Yes. Then it says social emotional support has been cut since COVID. Many kids are not conversational. Yeah, Lord, that year at home, Lord have mercy.
That year at home was tough.
Yeah. Laverne says, Jesus, there are activities. They don't want to do them. I asked my parents to read to the children and share with me so I can let them listen to before nap time. Did a readathon. One parent did it. Yes. When I show up,
and so, there is some responsibility on us, the general us, as parents, as grandparents, as community stakeholders. There's some onus on us to also figure out, how do we get involved? How do we get engaged? How do we make sure that we're creating a community where our children are safe, heard, allowed to express themselves, and things like that. And we are part of that.
Yes.
And so whatever that needs to look like, is it that, you sponsor something on your block and you guys all go to the, the Natural History Museum, or, just wherever. And I think that there's so many opportunities for us to do those types of things, because, and maybe like, for instance, Ruth Carter is there. Like, that should be really interesting to a lot of kids, because Wakanda, Black Panther, all that. So, do we read about Ruth Carter? Do we read about all the movies that she did? And then we go and see the exhibit, and then you do a call out or something after the exhibit that can inspire someone. So, those are the types of things that we need to be thinking about. That's what my kids are going to be doing. And I told my kids every summer, my children are going to write book reports on all the millionaires.
And the book reports can be fun because there's so many other ways to do this. To Atia's point, she says, we created an in-home library for my granddaughter. We did it for my grandchildren too. And the minute I walked through the door, Atia, Pace was like, Grandma! And we read about the first mathematician that was Black, and she brings the books, and we read and read and read and read, and her vocabulary has increased. The youngest one doing the same thing. My copy is looking at us like, he comes over and he listens to us, and he goes, run all over the house, being a total boy. But my son was adamant that there will be no tablets in front of his children. They don't even get to watch television like everybody else. Right? So the TV may be on, but it's something about counting. It's Miss Rachel. It's whatever it is. And when they come home, they find something. And they're tired. Let me tell you, they're exhausted. My daughter-in-law's exhausted. He's exhausted. So I come on over and we say, all right, let's go to a restaurant. Let's go to the park. Let's go pick pumpkins. Let's go. It's a thing that all of us have to be involved and engaged in. Because then it becomes a habit, and the children, when you take the stuff away from them, they're screaming like, because I want my tablet. And what you did innocently to keep them occupied is becoming a thing. So what we're saying to you is, even though you have parental controls on these tablets and you only allow them to watch certain things, what we're telling you is artificial intelligence and the sinister people out here have figured out ways to infiltrate every bit of what you're doing with your children, and you will not know that they're watching something sinister, etc., until it's too late. 13-year-old girl disappeared from all the way across the country, was found in a box in Pennsylvania recently. Like, she was from, let's say, Colorado. They got her. I don't know how. She was with friends. She was walking home from school. We got to be careful. Stop putting your children's names on social media. Stop talking about where they go to school, all those things. And they targeted this little girl. They are sinister. And so while in the moment we're sitting and we're talking about this and we're feeling like, oh my God, but I'm trying my best. Yes, you are trying your best. What we're saying to you is there's way more to this than meets the eye. Way, way more. And because my son and daughter-in-law works in IT, they've seen this over and over again. They're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So we have to be careful. It's good that you want to show off your children. My grandchildren have been copy, paste, and repeat forever. I wish somebody would. My son's a son number 1 and son number 2. When they see them, they'll know people don't know them because they'll say to them, hey, son number 1, oh, this is somebody that my mother speaks. So you have to protect your children. You have to. You absolutely must. And so now they're becoming teenagers. They have had all this time to do what they need to do. Hi, sweetie pie. I'm actually on the air right now. I'm talking about you and your children. Can I call you at 7:40? That's son number 1 just called me. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And so we planted watermelon seeds. He took them out there to kind of pull the weeds, show them how the watermelon was growing. They played with the dogs. It's all the things to keep them occupied so they don't feel like this is where they are. Marguerite says, my son as a teenager and now was an avid reader because my librarian blessed him with books and more books. He's bonded with his father at the library. Somebody says, Mother, I read that story. So we think our children are safe because we think we put safeguards in, but unintentionally we're creating harm for our children when we put them. My son says, do not ever put my children in bathing suits and stuff on social media. We're not buying. When he looked at the suits in the store, he said, let me tell you something. My daughters are not getting in that. That is suggestive for a 2-year-old. Like he thinks through all those things. He said, because people take the pictures of your children and use them to do all kinds of nefarious things around the world. Right. It's ugly out here. It's ugly.
It is. It is. It is. It is for sure. For sure. So we've just got to be mindful of kind of our actions and how we expose our children to the world, so to speak. Because the world is an interesting place.
Yeah. And we want it to be a safe space for our children, but it isn't. It just isn't. We have kept the generational reading library going since my grandmother started with me, but it requires us. And so for those of you who may not have large family settings, then ask your friends that you trust to come and sit and read with your children. Ask your friends that you trust to come and, my husband has a cousin who has 2 daughters, and they would send them to me because we weren't out doing anything. We would get stuff and we would bake and we would play and we talk about these different things. And it was always interactive and engagement. It wasn't about buying them thousands of dollars or things like that. It's just really engaging. So they still call me Auntie Diva to this day. I'll pick them up. We go to the aquarium and then we go have dinner at a 4-star restaurant so they can sit. And their mother was like, they're never going to eat that. I said, no. And I took pictures of them sitting with their little napkins and they tried everything. And then we went to go see a musical. This is how we work with our children, our nieces, our nephews, whatever. They did not touch their phones all day long.
And even if you don't have the money to do that, because we don't want to make assumptions of what people have, there's so much at the free library. There's so much. Like, again, when I was researching when Ocean was here, so we have the benefit of being, in Trenton part-time and Philadelphia part-time. So in Trenton at Princeton Library, they have 3 mornings of, reading. The woman reads she reads a book and it's like, she reads in Spanish, she reads in sign. They have a whole play area.
Yep.
And that's all free. At the Philadelphia Public Libraries, they also have like free activities and things like that. And you can do some remote activities and, like kind of like scavenger hunts and things like that. And then you it's interactive for you to put your results in, and that's interactive. And it's just, there is a lot of free stuff. So it doesn't even require that you pay. And, for people who get EBT, there are things that you can get into. I think all the museums, if you are on EBT, I think you can get in all the museums at no charge or a very minimal cost. And so and sometimes people don't know, right? So you have to educate people or but
you just make them aware, because every library
go and get their brains curious at work.
Yeah, to educate that, about 4 weeks ago, we went to the local library in my son's neighborhood, me and my daughter-in-law and the children, and there was a woman there that read to them. And as she was reading to them, in between reading to them, they had all these activities, blowing bubbles, let's play with the musical instruments, and it's absolutely free. All that
Yeah.
is required is a library card. So we listen. There's tons for you to do. We want to make sure that our children stay safe. I
Yeah,
want
the
to make
peace
sure that,
touch.
because even our phones are doing things against our own volition. They're telling us, it's listening to us, it's making suggestions, it's doing all, and we as the adults can barely keep up, right?
Right.
And the children have
Exactly.
figured out ways for you to see regular apps on their phones as teenagers. Meanwhile, there's some other insidious things behind those apps that you, the parents, aren't aware of, but they know how to get in with a special code. They are targeting our children. They're targeting our children. And every day we see more and more tweens and teens missing. It's not a coinky dinky. Okay. So I really just want
And
to
even
make
if
people
it's
aware.
not nefarious activity where it's targeting, it's stunting their social growth
Emotional
and
well-being.
evolution and their emotional well-being. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've got AI telling people, I think there was in the case of a person that, committed suicide. There's cases of people with like heartbreak because they're talking to AI. And I mean, there's just these things that are socially impactful. Even if it's not kind of a fear of harm, they're socially impactful. And if you can't evolve socially and your social skills, don't get exercised, then you start to feel like you're not part of society, and then that breeds a whole different, set of issues. So it's so important that we nurture young minds.
This is so cool. This turned into a great topic today. Thank you, Cherie. Tell folks how they can find you, darling.
You can always find us at Booker's at 5021 Baltimore Avenue. We're going into the holiday season, so we have sides givings. We'll start promoting those. So if you don't want to cook for Thanksgiving, you can we will do most everything. I think even we're doing turkeys this year. I don't know, full turkeys or turkey wings. I got to double check with the bosses. But sides giving, we have music Fridays and Sundays. That's proven to be a really great date night for people.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Well,
you guys were there.
oh, child, he was amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
really good entertainment on Fridays and Sundays. We have our Sunday supper on Sundays, so $45 3-course meal. So just again, trying to be thinking about how to economically help people during this time and to give them a really good quality option to be out and have a really good time.
5021 Baltimore Avenue, y'all.
One of you got to do corporate anything. They delivered on a very big opportunity at the African American Museum, almost 200 people. And so we can definitely manage your holiday season catering needs.
Someone said they miss Bayou on Wednesdays. What's that?
Oh, Patty Jackson used to come on Wednesdays and we had karaoke. We're going to start karaoke again. Probably not during the wintertime because it just slower, people aren't out as much, but after the winter.
Okay. Thank you, my darling. Always a pleasure. I'll see you out and about. I'm still trying to make a reservation for that other spot so we can go try. So I can go try because clearly you've been there before.
Yeah, well, so they used to be at 48. They used to be in West Philly. Omar, so we went to their opening and we've gone there a couple times.
Okay. All right. Thank you, my darling.
Yeah, so it's Saturday?
It's yes, I'm making the appointment. I'm making the reservation today for Saturday around 7 or 7:30.
Okay.
Is that cool? All right, sweetie pie.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Thank
all right,
you.
bye-bye. Bye-bye. While we wait for State Senator Art Haywood to join us for the after party, because the show would normally end at this point, let me read a little bit of the news. And Viola says, I took my, Dennis says, oh, now we're talking. Great show. Love you, ladies. We're not done, Atia. We're going. State Senator Art Haywood is going to join us. Viola says, I took my great-grands to Williamsburg this summer for 4 days. We talked about a lot of stuff. They came to my house to jump on my trampoline and go to the beach all the time. Yes, Viola. I did that this summer with my grandchildren, too. We went to the aquarium. We went to the zoo. We went to Discovery Center. I was worn the hell out and just wanted to lay down somewhere and never get back up. But to see those 3- and 2-year-old faces just, woo! To the point where Pace says, Grandma, I'm not sleeping with my brothers and sisters. I'm sleeping with you. I was like, no, you don't, because you sleep crossway to bed. Yeah, I am sleeping with you, Grandma. And child, the first night of vacation, she was with her mother. The second night, third night, fourth night, when she had to take a nap, come on, Grandma, I got to put my hair bonnet on. And you're building the memories with them. Just memories. They went up on the roof and they were looking down over this. It was a lot. Copy tried to run into the water. We had to grab my husband. My son was like, "No, you're trying to lose my son." But again, it's all about us finding time. That's all we did. We didn't, it was great. It was great. So every morning they would wake up and say, "What are we doing today?" And nothing cost a whole bunch of money. We just were hanging out. They didn't want to watch. Listen, I get it. And so if you don't have real, true extended family members that can help you, then call on somebody that you trust to say, "Can you do this for a few hours with my children?" Build those relationships and be careful who you leave your children with. I don't have to tell you that, right? I do not have to tell you that. So while I wait, I don't know. I haven't seen him yet. And I hope his people reminded him, and I hope that he's able to get in, because I do really want to have a conversation with him. And that's Senator Art Haywood, State Senator Art Haywood. He's going to talk to us about SNAP and what that looks like. So we have an after party. After the party, there he is. There he is. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for allowing me on. This is a different kind of platform for me, so it took me a few minutes to put it together.
No worries.
Very glad to be on.
Good to see you. Now, I have known you for a long time. When you ran for school board in Cheltenham Township, and then, all the things, and you've always been consistent in taking care of the folks who need to be served around you. So it is a pleasure to have you on the platform this morning to talk about the SNAP benefits. But someone texted me last night and said, Senator Art Haywood and Mandami have something in common. He wasn't first embraced by the Democratic Party, and he went on and won and never looked back. I'm so stinking proud of you.
Yeah, well, there's an agenda that's beyond party.
We're just going to put a period at the end of that sentence. Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. And here you are. You've been doing it ever since, and you've remained consistent. So let me introduce you to the people. Welcome to Mornings with Mother. Art Haywood is a Democratic member of the Pennsylvania State Senate, representing the 4th District, which covers parts of Northwest Philadelphia and Eastern Montgomery County. He assumed office in January 2015 after a career in law and government. He was a lawyer. He holds a BA from Morehouse. You went to Morehouse?
That's right.
From the London School of Economics, and a JD from the University of Michigan Law School. He has always championed issues including affordable housing, public health, and economic justice. Outside of his legislative work, he's married to his beautiful wife and 3 children and resides in the Philadelphia region. So we're going to talk about the SNAP benefits. Thank you for joining us today, sir. With the government shutdown, how are SNAP benefits being affected, and what immediate impact are you hearing from your constituents?
So number one, individuals are not receiving any food assistance, and that's 2 million people in Pennsylvania, 25,000 people in East Germantown alone, and over 100,000. So let me be more concrete. A disabled veteran contacted me before the shutdown. He said, "I depend on food assistance from SNAP. What's going to happen to me when the shutdown happens?" And here we are. The shutdown has happened, and he is not getting food. We have individuals who are just hungry. I don't know if you've seen, or if your listeners have seen, the long lines at food banks.
Yes.
Blocks and blocks, as individuals attempt to get food. Of course, folks may not know that for every 1 meal at a food bank, SNAP provides 9. So we're thinking that the food banks can help, the charities can help. They do help, but it's only 1 of those meals for every 9. So that's the gap that is being felt across this city, across this state, and across the entire nation.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, hold on one second. There's too much going on here. Can you explain how SNAP funding is handled during a shutdown? Are there
Certainly.
any reserves or contingency plans in place to keep the program running if the shutdown continues for an extended period? Because we're now in day 30, 738 of the government shutdown?
Yes. Fortunately, the national government does have reserves in order to cover the SNAP benefits.
Mm-hmm.
They also have reserves, so WIC, the dollars for women, infants,
Mm-hmm.
and children,
Mm-hmm.
those funds are still flowing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
WIC is still in operation. The reserves for SNAP are what the president has refused to use. This is not a situation where we don't have the money. We do have the money.
Mm-hmm.
The reserves are there. And that's why 2 federal court judges told the Trump administration, use the reserves to fund SNAP. So they don't have to come up with any new money. The money is there. And 2 judges have told the administration they have to use the reserves. Unfortunately, the Trump regime is slow walking, complying with the court orders. But
Terrible.
they have the money.
Okay,
This is a man-made disaster. And I was talking to Julie about this. We couldn't think, and my wife Julie, we couldn't think of another example where a country would decide to starve its own people.
It's devastating for so many. So what role are state and local governments or even community organizations playing to support SNAP recipients while federal operations are limited purposefully?
There's a lot going on. Number one, Governor Shapiro agreed to use $5 million from the state to get it to these food banks so they can have more food to distribute. That's number one. Our Mayor Sherrill Parker, is allocating $7 million for the same purpose. Get the money to food banks so the food banks can buy the food and distribute it. So the governor of Pennsylvania and the mayor of Philadelphia, they're both getting money to food banks. A number of charities are doing the same thing, getting money to food banks. For instance, on Tuesday, there were collections throughout this region at polling locations. And people were going to polling locations to drop in food that can be distributed. Here in Cheltenham, where I was part of the day on election day, there were probably, let me put it like this, there was a van load of food collected from polling locations.
Wow.
So individuals are stepping up, government officials are stepping up, community leaders are stepping up. I was asked by a leader in the city to reach out to Save-A-Lot. There are people who want to give money to Save-A-Lot so that Save-A-Lot can have gift cards for individuals so they can come, shop, buy the food, and go home with some food.
That's awesome.
So so in terms of the community, this community in our region rallying to try to feed people, it is happening. But it's limited. We would definitely want to praise all those who are doing this work, community coming together to feed people. That's fantastic.
Maybe some of these supermarkets too. I'm thinking Jeff Brown et al. That can donate some food shopping cards so that people can buy food. People have been in the community supporting these markets for decades. So this could be a way for them to give back, and a huge tax write-off, right? To give back to the community. From a legislative standpoint, what can Congress or the Senate do right now to ensure programs like SNAP aren't held hostage during budget impasses like this one? This is unconscionable, sir.
Yeah, it's outrageous. Legislation has been proposed in the national government, in Congress, because the money comes from Congress. It's not out of Harrisburg. This is not a state funding issue. This is a national funding issue.
Mhm.
And legislation has been proposed in the national government, in the House, to fund SNAP through the shutdown. It has been proposed. Now, you know, we have a Trump regime, though. Trump's got the White House, he's got the
Congress.
House, he's got the
Mhm.
Senate.
Mhm.
Sometimes it seems like
The
he got the
Supreme
Supreme
Court.
Court, depends
Mhm.
on the day.
Mhm.
So that legislation that has been proposed has not passed.
Okay.
It hasn't gone anyplace, but everybody knows. But let me say this, even without the legislation, the courts have ordered to use the reserves. The courts have ordered to use the reserves.
More than once.
Yes.
And it's being ignored. So, well, as you can tell from the elections this past Tuesday, there has been a mandate now from people that even in some of the reddest states in this country, there has been a blue wave everywhere. People are sick and tired. And I think there was an assumption that folks would be so afraid that they would just stay home and not vote, or they think their vote didn't matter. But they're starting to, I think they've awakened the people
I see that
unintentionally.
exactly. I see the same as you do. And
Yeah.
people know they have power and they're going to use it. Now, they don't have to, and voting is a secret kind of thing, right?
It is.
So
Yeah.
you just go in and vote and go home.
Yes.
I think the most telling thing for me, there was two, if I have time for that.
Yes, you have time.
One was the New Jersey governor. The political figures were saying this is going to be close election, close election, close election. She won by a landslide. It
Slide. Yeah.
wasn't close.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing was Stella Sy. She ran for Commonwealth Court.
Mm-hmm.
She won by a landslide. Now,
Yeah.
I tell you, in my opinion, why this is significant.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have never heard of Stella.
Yes.
Fewer people have heard of the Commonwealth Court. Am I right about that?
You are absolutely right.
And she won by a landslide. And then people are saying, hell no. This is somebody we don't know. This is a court we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we getting people in who are going to be on our side.
And to
So-
protect us as people, because folks are feeling absolutely unprotected, being marginalized, maligned, and sneered at for daring to say we want to eat. We need to have a roof over our head. Our health insurance costs should be manageable. We're being snuffed at. You know, get ready, get ready. You've earned too much. You've been given too much free everything that people have been told, right? And we see on the streets, these are billionaires who doesn't know what a can of milk costs, and they're telling people, you know, we're doing this, and in the secrecy of the government shutdown, things are happening that's impacting the billions of dollars that have been entrusted to the government. So where do we? This is so unprecedented.
It is.
And so the anxiety levels have been high for people, and I think something just snapped in everybody's brains. Oh, okay, this is what we're doing, right?
That's right. Enough.
Enough.
Let me
Yeah.
also say something briefly about the claim about the SNAP people being a handout.
Yeah.
Most people receiving SNAP benefits are working.
Yes.
And the reason that they are receiving SNAP food assistance
Mm-hmm.
is because they are in low paid jobs.
Because what is the minimum wage in
$7.25 an hour, 7 1/4. 12 1/4, you can't make it. 14, you can't make it. Even 15, you can't, it's tough
Hell,
enough.
$25 an hour, you're barely making it.
So we taxpayers are subsidizing these employers.
Mm-hmm.
So here, this is one example. Person making $14 an hour, they got a couple children, they need SNAP benefits. They can qualify. Or 10, 12, 13, they can qualify. They're working. How are we making sure the employer is not making sure they get food? The employer is not paying them enough to get health care.
Mm-hmm.
The employer is not paying them enough to get housing. So then the government got to come and cover the difference.
Mm-hmm. And if we would just give wages that were manageable, because everybody's talking about their bottom line and how much money they need to make to survive, but we're literally creating spaces for people, and especially in the government. There are lots of people who are government workers that don't make enough money to pay for food, keep a roof over their head, and their basic necessities. So how do we? I wish, were there any Republicans running at the state level. No, that's next year, the congressional map.
Well, they ran for judges and they all lost.
They all lost. Yep. With Jeffrey Yas pouring millions of dollars, and they have been at this for a whole year. As soon as Trump won the election, they says now we're focusing on Pennsylvania because we want to redistrict and we want to get those 3 Supreme Court justices
and
off.
they lost.
And they lost. But they lost, sir, because of what's been going on in this country. You start to starve people, take away their jobs, and make them feel like they have no agency here. They're going to use their collective rights to vote. So that's the problem.
That's right. And so for 2026, I think you're headed there. 2026, I think we're going to see more of what we saw Tuesday.
Yes, because they're stiff-necked and think it can't happen. And so anybody that's running for office now, this is the time for you to start to be a challenger. Start to challenge the folks who have been sitting. The budget has not been passed at the state level yet. Look at all those state senators and House people there and start to say, okay, and challenge them, because 1 to 10, they're probably going to lose their elections if they keep this stuff up.
I have direct evidence.
Good for you.
Here's the evidence. There are 3 state Senate races that we only need to get 2 wins to take the majority in the state Senate. We're down to 2. There are 3 state Senate races. If you look at the vote Tuesday, it was blue. So these Senate races that we want to win turned blue Tuesday. So we already have the foundation from. That's the evidence. They have already turned blue.
Yes. Well, sir, there are more elections coming up next year in the midterm. So let's see what happens as a direct result of this. And it really comes down to taxing the upper classes, right? I understand you're making all this billions. We have trillionaires now. How much money can one make? How much?
It's outrageous.
It is outrageous. It is. I'm so thrilled to talk to you, to give people. Alexandra, someone made a comment. She said, can we stop using a person's gross pay, use their net pay to determine eligibility for SNAP, Medicaid, and other human services?
So that would be at the national government level. So we would need Congress to do that. I understand the difference between gross and net. But net is based upon the individual's deductions.
Yeah.
Everybody got a different set of deductions. So I think it'd be more challenging to keep track of that, at least from a national government perspective. You got because your net is, everybody's net is more challenging. So it's possible. I think it'd be more difficult to do, but it's possible.
Right. State Senator Art Haywood, it's such a pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you for joining us in our after party. I reserve the right to bring you back on anytime because you've continued to stick with the human social services. You've not deviated. You've cared about what happened to the people. And I don't know how you do it. You are everywhere. Thank you, sir.
So much.
Give my regards to your lovely wife.
I will. Thanks a lot. Take care now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, as State Senator Art Haywood log off, I want to give you some parting comments in our show. It has been a pleasure covering these topics with all of you. Please hit like and subscribe as you are watching this platform every day. We are covering, people are now calling, wanting to be a part of the conversations that we've been having. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you. We're talking about the subjects that matter in our lives, in our daily lives, what happens at the national and international levels, because we're going there too. We've been having conversations. We're getting ready to have some folks on to talk. Atia says, great man. Thank you, Atia. We have to discuss what's happening internationally as it impacts us nationally and locally. And so we'll have people coming on to have that discussion with us. I am off the mindset that I'm not looking for folks that everybody is clamoring to get. I want to talk to folks that are actually doing the work, that are not getting any kind of airtime because we're too busy thinking that we'll get a whole lot of likes and people watching because of X, Y, and Z. Speaking of that, I want to discuss Jasmine Crockett. I see a lot lot of people inviting her to come into town, blah, 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 blah. That's a fierce sister. And beyond admiring her, though, I'd like for you all to take on some of the things that she's done. She's put her life, she has put her time, she's put her energy, lost her congressional seat on the line for the people. So other than taking pictures with her and admiring her work, I'd like for some of us to start to emulate, take the lessons from what she's done and how she's done it, and become not her, but a version of yourself that the people can identify with when you're in office or running for office. I said it, I meant it. We just got to be better about this. Now I got to get off the air because this is the after party. It's almost 8 o'clock and my son is waiting for me to call him back. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been another good episode of Mornings with Mother. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.